when we tried to get the film made, I used to go into offices of the people that gave you the money to make films, and I'd say, it's going to be a sort of gangster film, and it's going to be a sort of musical gangster film, and most of the parts are going to be played by kids average age 12, and then they showed me the door, basically. And so it was not easy to get made. So, and when we made it, we didn't think that it would last very much. But it's nice that it's lasted so long. The interesting thing, Francis Coppola, who's a famous American director, said to me that it's the kind of film you only make at the beginning of your career, because when you're really naive and you really know nothing, which I didn't, I was completely naive and I didn't know anything, would you attempt to do something that is actually incredibly difficult to make? I mean, Dexter's now a director, he kind of appreciates how hard it is to work with kids, you know.
Sure.
It's and to have an entire cast, I don't know, it was a mad thing, yeah. It's a mad idea you have when you're very young, and when you're very young you have really great fresh ideas, and that's what's nice about it, really.
And you wrote the script as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, and what came first? Obviously, we're talking about the novel, which has been republished. Which came first, the novel or the script?
Well, I wrote a couple of chapters of the novel. The genesis of it was that at the time I had 4 small children, and we had a house in Derbyshire, and it's a very long drive, 3.5 hours, and so I used to tell them this story, which was Bugsy Malone, and then my eldest son, Alexander, said, can we be in it? And so that's how the kids thing came about. And then I wrote like 2 chapters of the novel, then I made the movie, and then I did a couple more, and then it got published then immediately after doing the film, and then thank God HarperCollins are now republishing it, which is nice because it's been out of print for such a long time. But
so Paul and Dexter, this obviously, so we're going back 35 years, so you were both incredibly young. I think you were 12 and Dexter was 10. Can you remember how you first became involved in the film? Can you remember that far back?
I can remember, yeah, I remember when Alan, we were saying earlier, turned up at, I used to go to drama club in Islington. It was a couple of nights a week after school, and Alan turned up with a huge video camera and a couple of scenes from the film, and came and auditioned a whole bunch of kids at that. Who were in there? There's Phil Daniels was there, and my brother Graham as well, who played Irving.
Graham, where are you?
Graham, Graham's enough.
Yeah, Graham.
Graham, who was Irving.
He played Irving.
Round of applause for Graham Fletcher.
Where is he?
But yeah, I remember, and he turned up with this huge video camera, and there was these really cool scenes, and we knew that it was a film that was all kids playing adults. That was how it was told to us. You know, it's all kids playing adults. It's gangsters, and it's, you know, all set in America. So we all did our bad American accents and stuff. And you know, yeah. Then I ended up in a biscuit factory out in Wapping somewhere. You were there.
Yeah, Reading.
Reading, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, Reading. Right. Okay. Yeah.
The Huntley and Palmer's, wasn't it?
Yep. You were there too.
Yes.
We were all there.
Yeah.
What can you remember about those times, Paul?
Oh, well, for myself, I was on a television programme and sitting in the audience. It was a children's programme in the morning, like a Saturday morning programme. And Alan was on there, and he was talking about the film and saying they're looking for anybody to come and actually audition. And it's like he was sitting about there, and I was sitting back here, and I was like this. And he turned around and he said, oh, even you could do it. So when it all finished, he said, like, would you be interested? And I was like, nah. You know, he says, and he asked why. I says, well, I didn't want to be away from home, you know.
No, you said I've got my cricket to come first.
Yeah, it was sports stuff, and you know, being away from home, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. So, but then he said, right, come down to my office for a screen test, and then for an audition. And the audition was the most daunting thing ever, because it was like this. There was loads of people at this place, Bowater House in Knightsbridge, and then you're in there, and there's people in there with their agents and everything. And I'm just thinking, my dad thinking, oh my word. Then the audition took place, and I just thought, okay, fine. I was walking out the door, and they started measuring my head and my arms and legs, and then I just thought, oh, maybe I've got it. You know, the script came, did the script, and the journey started.
So at what point did they tell you got the role?
I think it was 3 weeks later when the script actually arrived, because I think all the liaison was done with my parents. So when the script was there, and I had it, remember the red cover it had, and I was looking at it, so I started to look through the pages, and just seeing what my lines were. Nope, 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 nope. I was like,
Like a true actor.
yeah, how do I learn it? And I got a yellow, like, felt tip marker and just wrote, nope, nope, nope. And then when the other words came, I just thought to myself, this, it's something to do. And then just thought, yes, like I said, the journey, it was starting, and then it was meeting all the other people that were in it. But my thing for me was being there with Alan, and he listens. He'll put something to you, and if it didn't feel that it could, he'd just say, well, what would you do? Try and do it your way. And a lot of the time there, I just wanted to laugh, because it was just being in a place of wonderment, excellent.
And in terms of things like everyday things like getting your schoolwork done and stuff like that, how did that work in terms of being on set and doing school and stuff?
I don't remember a whole lot of schooling going on, personally. I mean, I'm sure there were those very capable people in there, but, what chance would a chaperone or a tutor have against, 30 kids all ready up for, ready and excited and ready to go, and you've got one sort of elderly matron-like teacher. I don't remember who it was even, but all I remember is sitting around in the biscuit factory throwing biscuits around at each other for hours on end, just biscuits going across, crushing them up. And
So it was biscuit school.
it was, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we were just playing, and of course they were outnumbered. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to say that we did have a full-time school with five teachers because the local authority insisted upon it. The fact that Dexter is now admitting that he never actually went to any classes
It's my own
is
responsibility.
a revelation, yes.
No, I did.
You went.
Yeah, we had to do English, maths, and the project worked. And my thing of getting away from doing anything sort of like really serious, I just said, I'm going to go around drawing people. So I just went around drawing whatever I could.
A lot of art.
Just sort of as a way of mixing with the others in the cast and everything. You would just say, all right, do whatever you're doing, I'll just sit here and enjoy it. I don't know where the drawings are now, but hey.
Obviously, who knows where she is now, but Jodie Foster was already quite an established actress at the time. And obviously, she has now gone on to do many, many great things. I mean, was she somebody, did you have her in mind immediately, or how did she kind of come into your life?
No, not really. I mean, I spent a year casting it, and I went all over, really. I mean, I went to all of the drama, organisations here, and dancing, and all over. Went to every single Air Force base because we wanted American-speaking kids. I went to boxing schools, American schools, you name it. And then I went to New York, and then I went to Los Angeles, and most of it was Jodie I met in Los Angeles, and she'd just done one film for Marty Scorsese, which she'd been cast for, which was she was about to go and shoot, which was called Taxi Driver, which was quite a famous film. She came directly from Taxi Driver to us, and then she couldn't believe her luck because suddenly she'd spent her entire career, because she'd done a lot of films and commercials and things, even at that age. And in fact, I always used to say to her, she'd actually done more films than I had at the time, so she was more experienced. And she arrived, but what she loved, I think, was that she was suddenly around kids for the first time in her life, where she was not a big star or anything. They didn't really, you never treated her like a star, but
Me?
not you. No.
No, she was.
No, she was, okay. I mean, I know that that you and Dexter's mum had a bit of a run-in over his hairdo at the time.
She went crazy. Yeah. He came in and we gave all of the kids really quite severe haircuts, and Dexter's for some reason was slightly more severe than everybody else's, and his mum she was just really mad at us, and so she Alan Marshall was the producer, and she stormed into his office and she demanded that Dexter was given a wig. Because she said she couldn't walk down the street with him, he couldn't go to school, and so we made you a wig.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And?
Well, I wore it to school one day, and within about 10 minutes, I was spinning it round on the top of my head at the front of the class. It didn't last very long. I mean, I didn't really care, but my mum seemed to have a big problem with it. I mean, literally stuck a bowl on my head and cut round it.
Is that why you've rebelled now with the current hairdo?
Exactly. I'm trying to recreate that 70s hairstyle again. This all the rage in the 70s.
And one thing I thought was really interesting, when you met Paul again this afternoon, obviously it was a very emotional moment, I think, for both of you. I think that you kind of talked about the fact that because obviously they were all kind of child actors, and it was your first feature film. There is that kind of emotional kind of bond there, that when you've re-met some of the actors, they have had a very kind of emotional response to seeing you again. And you were talking about Scott Baio quite recently, who's kind of an established kind of star in his own right.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, it was, they always get emotional because they were so young, and it was an important moment in all of their lives, and I think, and most of the kids that I do meet from the film react a similar way, because they mostly. The important thing about being a director, I think I've always said this when I go to film schools and things, if you're making a film like this, you cannot make a film of this nature if the kids don't have a good time. And I think the one thing they remember is having a fantastic time.
Absolutely.
And I think that they're nodding, thank God. If I had adult actors here from my films, it wouldn't be the same. But and we had. It was my first film too. That's what I was learning, and they were learning, and it's a moment in your life really, and the fact that a film can survive and be of any interest to people after 35 years is kind of good, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think, even those, I was 9, and those 4 days that I was there, and the things that happened, you were very aware of being somewhere kind of magical and special, and something really important in your life happened as a child, because, the days come and go as a kid, and you kind of lose stuff along the way as you get older. But for me, I don't know, I should imagine the same for you, that there's really vivid memories of that time, and feelings and excitement and happiness, and it's like, and then to have a document of it as well when you can sit back and watch it. Because I remember that day there being in the end of that row of that barrels, and you were really lovely to me as well, and just and Alan saying things like, "Oh, look at the camera" when you say that line, and but little things like that are still really vivid and actually really special and personal to you, that are there and documented. I can sit and watch it on my own for a minute and be just as happy as I was then, and that's a real gift of a thing to have, as an adult.
Can I just ask quickly about the decision to use the adult voices for the singing voices? Was that something that you had from the start? How did that kind of come into it?
No, what happened was I'd asked Paul Williams to do the music, and then I went to Las Vegas to meet with him, and I finally did after like 3 nights. He was in Cabaret, and we met and we went to some cafe, and he kind of did most of the score there whilst we were doing it. And then he was going on tour, and then he would send the music when it was ready. And the thing is, whenever he arrived in a town in America where they had a recording studio, he would lay down some tracks, and so the stuff arrived. And so we didn't actually get the music until 6 weeks before we started shooting. And we didn't know what we were going to get, and there's no way that I could change anything. I certainly had no influence on what he did, and then suddenly Tallulah's song arrived, and Jodie, whose voice is very, very deep, as you probably know, and suddenly Tallulah's voice went, "My name is Tallulah," and she said, "I can't sing that. That's not me," but she did sing it. But it's like, there's no way we could change it at the time. And same with the dancing. We had to learn all the dance numbers in. Just 6 weeks it took to do all that, yeah. Mostly relying on what he sent over.